Hi, I'm Bakhtiar Sanov and you are watching A News. Here are the top stories. South Korean authorities attempt to detain impeached President Yoon Suk-yeol. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says President-elect Donald Trump could be decisive in stopping war in Ukraine. Tesla shares receive a blow after the automaker reported its first decline in annual deliveries. South Korean authorities attempted to arrest impeached President Yoon Suk-yeol today, but failed after facing resistance from both his supporters and presidential security forces. The arrest warrant was subsequently suspended. Yoon is under investigation for insurrection over his controversial martial law declaration in December.
Authorities from the Corruption Investigation Office for high-ranking officials of South Korea attempted to execute an unprecedented arrest warrant for impeached President Yoon Suk-yeol. However, the operation quickly encountered obstacles. A large crowd of Yoon supporters gathered outside his residence, vowing to prevent the arrest. Once inside the compound, investigators faced a standoff with the Presidential Security Service and military troops tasked with guarding the president.
I'm here in front of the official residence to save our country from the crisis. Corruption Investigation Office for high-ranking officials is trying to arrest the president in an illegal way, not in a legitimate way. So I came here today to prevent it.
President Yoon Suk-yeol has followed the country's laws so far. However, they don't follow the laws. The Republic of Korea is becoming a lawless world. As a South Korean citizen, I couldn't just overlook this situation, so I decided to come here.
Yoon's legal team has argued that the arrest warrant is unlawful and that they will take legal action. The warrant remains valid until January 6th, and investigators must decide whether to pursue further action after Yoon's arrest. Yoon is under investigation for insurrection after declaring martial law on December 3rd, a controversial move that caused shockwaves across the nation. The investigation stems from his failure to comply with multiple summons to answer questions about the declaration, which critics argue could be seen as an illegal attempt to suppress political opposition. The arrest warrant was issued after Yoon failed to appear before investigators.
Turkey has reaffirmed its commitment to protecting all groups in Syria, regardless of their ethnicity or religion. In a recent statement, Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan emphasized Turkey's role as a guardian for minorities and displaced Syrians, highlighting the country's ongoing efforts to offer refuge and support in the face of oppression.
Turkey is determined to protect all aggrieved groups in Syria, the country's foreign minister Hakan Fidan stated, with his Belgian counterpart Bernard Quinten in Ankara. He explained that during the oppression under the Assad government, millions of Sunni Arabs, as well as ethnic Turks, were displaced and forced to seek refuge in other countries.
Diğer taraftan Suriye'de kamplar dışında da bulunan yabancı
On the other hand, we want the foreign terrorist fighters who are also outside the camps in Syria, especially those in the ranks of the PKK who oppose the unity and integrity of the country, and not only oppose the unity and integrity of Syria, but also threaten the unity and integrity of Turkey and its surrounding countries, to leave the country as soon as possible.
ülkeyi terk etmelerini istiyoruz.
Bernard Quinten expressed his desire for Turkey's assistance in communicating with the Syrian government.
And given Turkey's influence and contacts with actors on the ground, we discussed how we could join efforts to this end. I mean, you know them better than us. You are their neighbor. They will remain your neighbor. As we say, you can change of friends, but you can never change of neighbors. So they are there. So really count on you, my dear friend, to help us help them, and to also convey our message, but also to convey their message to us, how we can help them. We spoke about the financial system, the banking system. Let's see how we can help also to lift some sanctions. I mean, it's a process in order for them to be able to deliver for the people.
Turkish Foreign Minister added that Turkey did not hesitate to offer sanctuary to those seeking protection from oppression. Since 2011, the country has provided refuge to over 3 million Syrians.
The United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees has reported that more than 115,000 Syrian refugees have returned to their home country following the fall of Bashar al-Assad's regime. In a written statement, the UNHCR provided details on the developments, noting that since December 8, 2024, individuals have been repatriating from neighboring countries, including Turkey, Jordan and Lebanon. The figures concerning these returns are based on public disclosures by host nations, interactions with migration services in Syria, and border observations conducted by UNHCR and its partners. UNHCR said the Turkish Minister of Interior reported that more than 35,000 Syrians have voluntarily returned home. For its part, Jordan noted that more than 22,000 people have entered Syria through its territory, 3,100 of whom were registered refugees. Meanwhile, the number of Syrians departing Lebanon through official border crossings remains low but steady. These journeys are predominantly through the Masna crossing and include people who may be making short trips to assess the situation in Syria. Turkey's Defense Minister Yaşar Güler visited an unmanned aircraft systems base command in the eastern city of Batman to outline the strategic goals of the Turkish Armed Forces for the new year. Defense Minister Yaşar Güler, joined by senior military officials, praised the base's contributions to Turkey's defense operations, particularly in cross-border missions in northern Iraq and northern Syria. Güler highlighted the Turkish Air Force's pivotal role in national security, describing it as a source of pride with its advanced technology, skilled personnel and operational successes. He also noted that Turkey's UAV and UCAV programs have garnered international recognition, bolstering both the defense sector and the country's export potential. Güler reaffirmed Turkey's resolve in combating terrorism, stating that the nation will persist until full border security is achieved. He also addressed the importance of a self-reliant and modern defense industry, stressing that the Turkish Armed Forces' dominance in the skies remains a top priority. Ivory Coast has announced that French troops will withdraw from the West African nation, further reducing the military influence of the former colonial power in the continent. The move comes as the anti-French sentiment continues to rise in the region, dealing a blow to regional ambitions of France.
Ivorians expressed their reactions to President Alassane Ouattara's decision to end the French military presence in Ivory Coast. Many welcomed the move, which redefines the West African nation's ties with its former colonial ruler.
I praise the leadership of the Ivorian president because Ivory Coast is a responsible country. The agreements have been signed since 1960 with the late President Félix Houphouët-Boigny. We are in 2025, that is to say more than 50 years later, and the talks that the president has had with France, I think it's really diplomacy.
It's true that it's taken a long time, but today if we've reached this point, it's because it's the right time. There's no debate about it. Today, if we're at the end of our contract, it's good for everyone.
Ouattara announced on Tuesday that French troops would depart, marking another step in France's broader military withdrawal from the region. France has been scaling back its forces in West and Central Africa, reducing its presence from around 2,200 to approximately 600 troops. Separately, Senegal confirmed the withdrawal of French troops from the country would be completed by the end of 2025. Ivory Coast is home to the biggest remaining contingent of French troops in West Africa, with some 600 French military personnel. France has already pulled its soldiers out of Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger, while the government of Chad abruptly ended its defense pact with France in November 2024.
Russia launched a massive drone attack on Ukraine, killing one civilian and injuring others in the Kiev region. Ukrainian forces shot down most of the drones, but damage was still extensive across several regions.
In a large-scale overnight attack, Russia launched 93 drones to Ukraine, with Ukrainian air defenses successfully intercepting 60 of them. The barrage targeted 9 Ukrainian regions, including Kiev, Donetsk, and Chernihiv, causing widespread damage. Authorities report that in Kiev, 1 civilian was killed by drone debris, and 4 others, including a 16-year-old, were injured. The Ukrainian military said the drones were part of an ongoing strategy by Russia to disrupt Ukraine's infrastructure. Several private homes, commercial buildings, and even a high-rise apartment were damaged. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky expressed hope that U.S. President-elect Donald Trump's influence could help turn the tide in the war.
Trump can be decisive. For us, this is the most important thing. His qualities are indeed there. He can be decisive in this war. He's capable of stopping Putin. Or to put it more fairly, help us stop Putin. He is able to do this. Of course, I would like for President Trump's proposed plan to be aligned with our view. It cannot be otherwise. We are Ukraine, and it's our independence, our land, our future.
He emphasized the need for robust security guarantees from international allies and said that stabilizing the front lines is crucial for Ukraine's future. On the battlefield, situation remains tense as the fighting between Ukraine and Russia continues. A recent attack in Kursk targeted a Russian command post, leading to significant damage. Meanwhile, Russian casualties continue to mount. According to the Institute for the Study of War, Russian forces suffered 102 casualties for every square kilometer of Ukrainian land seized. In 2024 alone, Russia gained 4,168 square kilometers at the cost of over 420,000 casualties, highlighting the heavy human cost of Russia's military objectives.
In business news, shares of Tesla fell more than 7% Thursday morning after it reported its first decline in annual deliveries.
Tesla handed over 1.79 million electric vehicles in 2024, down 1% from 2023 and below the 1% gain predicted by analysts. Incentives failed to boost demand for its aging lineup of models. CEO Elon Musk expected promotions, including zero interest rate financing, to power a slight growth in deliveries in 2024. Reduced European subsidies, a shift in the US toward lower-priced hybrid vehicles, and tougher competition from China's BYD have pressured Tesla. In response, Musk pivoted Tesla to self-driving taxis and backed President-elect Donald Trump with millions of dollars in campaign donations, in hopes that it could bring regulatory relief for the company. Deliveries in the fourth quarter also dropped. With self-driving technology still years away, analysts have said Tesla will have rely on cheaper versions of current cars and the Cybertruck to drive sales growth in the near term.
Turkey's first domestic electric vehicle producer, TOG, has delivered nearly 50,000 cars to date. In 2023, the company sold approximately 20,000 units of T10X model. TOG sales surged 54% in 2024 compared to the previous year and reached 30,000 units. In December, the EV company delivered more than 5,700 cars. Vehicle sales data for December and the whole of 2024 haven't been unveiled yet. Hanoi is currently facing severe air pollution, which poses significant health risks to residents, particularly vulnerable groups such as the elderly and those with pre-existing respiratory conditions. The hazardous AQI rating of 305 underscores the urgency of addressing the sources of pollution, such as heavy traffic, trash burning, and industrial activities.
Vietnam's bustling capital city of Hanoi woke up shrouded in a dense layer of smog as air pollution reached hazardous levels. A panoramic view of the city reveals its iconic skyline barely visible through the heavy haze, as the government said it would push for more electric vehicles to alleviate the problem. Streets that are typically vibrant and bustling were veiled in gray, as motorcycles and cars navigated through the murky air. Cyclists, braving the pollution, moved alongside congested traffic, their faces partially covered with masks in an attempt to filter the noxious air. This persistent smog has disrupted daily life in Hanoi, reducing visibility and leaving residents, especially the elderly and those with respiratory conditions, struggling with health issues.
There is serious air pollution in Hanoi at the moment. We, the elderly, can feel it very significantly, especially those of us who suffer from respiratory problems that lead to troubled breathing. This is a situation that seems to be getting more and more serious in recent times.
In the early morning, I thought it was fog on the way to take my exam, but I later found out that it was actually fine dust that reduces my vision and makes me feel like it's not healthy to breathe.
With the seriousness of this air pollution, the only way for me to protect myself is to wear layers and layers of clothing.
Deputy Prime Minister Tran Hong Ha called for an accelerated transition to electric vehicles as part of the efforts to reduce pollution, state media reported. So far, Hanoi has a target for at least 50% of buses and 100% of taxis to be electric vehicles by 2030.
That's all we have for you for now. Thank you for tuning in and keep watching A News.